September 10th, 2023. This is the Las Vegas Strip, a place where control and order are supposed to be absolute. Inside the sprawling MGM Grand, a reality-bending glitch was about to hit. Slot machines froze mid-spin, and a high roller watched his $50,000 win simply blink out. In the lobby, hundreds of guests stood in line, paralyzed because all their digital room keys had suddenly stopped working. In a matter of hours, the entire $14 billion MGM Resorts empire, a titan of finance and hospitality, was reduced to pen, paper, and panic. This was not a power outage, it was a digital siege. The price tag was 11 days offline and over $100 million lost. The shocking catalyst for this financial catastrophe was a single 5-minute phone call. This is the story of how a loose crew of teenagers and young adults pulled off one of the biggest digital heists in history. This is a deep dive into the darkest side of the internet, a true-life cybercrime documentary. The hack didn't begin with a sophisticated piece of malware or a billion-dollar supercomputer. It began 4 days earlier, thousands of miles from the neon lights of Vegas. A 19-year-old hacker, part of a crew known as Scattered Spider, took a breath and dialed the number for MGM's IT help desk. He was targeting the weakest link in that massive corporate wall: human trust. The hacker was armed with the most devastating weapon in the modern cybercrime playbook: a calculated script. This was a carefully planned act of social engineering, not some random amateur dark web scam. He spoke calmly, manufacturing urgency. "Hey, this is James from IT. I'm locked out of my Octa account and my MFA token isn't working. Can you help me reset it? It's kind of an emergency." The help desk agent, overworked and trained to be helpful, heard what sounded like a colleague in need. The hacker rattled off scraped personal details: an employee ID, a pet's name, and the last digits of a phone number. That information was all stolen from old data breaches and assembled from public sources like LinkedIn. The agent, unfortunately, bypassed standard protocols out of a desire to assist. With a quick security question and a password reset link, the teenager, 3,000 miles away, had bluffed his way into MGM's Octa administrator portal. He had his digital master key. He quickly muted his mic, fighting back a grin, and typed a single message into his Telegram chat: "We're in." The agent had just handed the keys to the kingdom to a kid barely old enough to buy a beer. With the access to Octa, the crew instantly held MGM's digital master keyring. They gained passwords, single sign-ons, and full administrative access to every critical system. In Las Vegas, no alarms were ringing. The heist was completely invisible. But this was only step one of a much deeper internet mystery. The real break-in started right then. Minutes after that call, Scattered Spider pivoted deep into the network. They first created new administrator credentials for themselves, then they disabled multi-factor protections. This was like stealing the master key and turning off the alarm on the way in. One hacker, seated in a dim apartment, could barely suppress a whisper: "Access granted." They moved quickly and quietly across servers, databases, and cloud drives. They were convinced they only had 72 hours before they would be noticed. Then, they struck digital gold. They located the High Roller database, a treasure trove of the casino's biggest spenders. This file contained names, bankroll figures, social security numbers, and VIP preferences. A single stolen file worth more than any jackpot the casino could offer. The cybercrime crew also found something geekier, but just as valuable: the source code for MGM's slot machine software. This was the code that controls the odds, the payouts, and the entire engine of the casino's finance. In an unprecedented digital smash and grab, their haul quickly ballooned to 6 terabytes of data: employee records, customer databases, financial documents, and confidential code. If data's the new gold, they had successfully cracked Fort Knox. But on Friday night, an MGM IT administrator noticed something odd: unrecognized activity on an admin account. The security team began to stir, and the silent heist was about to become a sprint. The hackers sensed it too. One of them typed the fateful 3 words in their chat: "Time to detonate." Sunday, the pre-dawn hours, the MGM security team scrambled to isolate and eject the intruders. In doing so, they inadvertently triggered the trap. The hackers unleashed their secret weapon: the Blackout ransomware. This was not a simple lockdown. This was a complete digital nuclear strike. One by one, critical systems locked up, slot machine control systems blinked off, hotel reservation computers froze, and digital locks on room doors were paralyzed. MGM's glamorous resorts were dragged back into the analog age in a matter of hours. Someone just flipped the off switch on the entire strip. By Sunday afternoon, MGM's executives received the chilling message. The hackers spelled out the deal: pay $30 million in cryptocurrency, or else. The or else was the public dump of all 6 terabytes of stolen data, including every high roller's social security number. This was the ultimate breach of public trust. MGM's leadership faced an agonizing dilemma. Should they pay and hope for a quick, quiet restoration like their rival, Caesar's Palace, who had paid $15 million to avoid this pain? Or should they refuse and risk a prolonged, public catastrophe? They chose to stand firm and refuse to pay, a decision that would prove incredibly costly. MGM called the hackers bluff. As Monday rolled into Tuesday and Wednesday, the consequences were immediate and brutal. For tense days, their IT army worked around the clock, battling the ransomware and rebuilding systems. Every hour of downtime meant millions in lost revenue. The total cost of the decision to stand firm was around $100 million, 3 times the original ransom demand. This was the true price of resilience. The hackers, this new breed of cybercrime affiliate, were emboldened. They weren't nation-state spies. They were kids who weaponized human trust. They proved that a company with tens of millions in security technology could be undone by a single 10-minute conversation. Security, it turned out, was not just a technology problem. It was a people problem. This siege is a critical lesson for the future of internet mysteries and corporate security. First, you must implement a zero-trust architecture. Assume every employee and every device is a potential threat. The core failure here was believing a simple phone call was sufficient authentication. Always verify identity through multiple, redundant channels. Second, you need a human firewall. The help desk agent was the ultimate weakest link. Companies must invest in constant, high-quality training against advanced social engineering and phishing attacks. Finally, you need advanced detection. MGM was too slow to react. Companies need systems that flag unusual behavior instantly. Speed is everything in containment. By the following Monday, 1 week after the hack began, MGM was finally operational. They had refused to pay the ransom, framing their stance as principled resilience. But the damage was done, and law enforcement was closing in. Authorities soon arrested a 17-year-old in the UK, believed to be the voice who conned the help desk. A suspected co-conspirator in the US was picked up with a staggering $27 million in Bitcoin. The once invincible Phantom crew was now on the run. The era of the teenage hacker sticking up multinational corporations is here. The message from the Las Vegas Strip is chillingly clear. Every digital entity is on notice. The cybercrime documentary on the MGM hack ends not with a cinematic explosion, but with a wary exhale. Because for every member caught, dozens more remain in the shadows, waiting for the next helpful, overworked employee to pick up the phone. What did you learn from this terrifying internet mystery? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Digital Sleuth for more deep dives into the world of cybercrime.